Want to get high tonight? Scott was bordering on junkie status, and I was always wary about spending time with him, normally in the filthy apartment of some dealer friend while he shot up. It seemed like he was bordering on a collapse, and I was scared of doing the same. I don't know, what are you thinking? On the other hand, I had been despondent since breaking up with Ruth. Maybe something to take my mind off the pain would help. I knew she was better off without me, I was just holding her back. Meet me at Jared's, he said he wants to try something new. This made me feel a little better. Jared was probably the nicest dealer Scott knew, and his stuff was generally sourced well, plus his apartment was at least somewhat clean. You know I don't fuck with needles. Yeah man, it's fine, nothing like that. I showed up at 8 with 3 beers in my system that had failed to calm the nervous energy I was feeling. Whatever, it's fine. It's going to be fine. Jared was happy to see me and poured me a whiskey. I felt a little weird and sat down at the table. He put 3 black pills down in front of us. I got this from a trusted contact overseas, he began, said it's like nothing else. He smiled, thought the 3 of us could test drive it before I put in an order, see if it's really worth it. Stuff is called Forever. Scott laughed and downed a pill. Jared and I followed suit. I sat down and stared at the TV, waiting for it to kick in. It was fine. I felt really mellow, and sort of like the room, and me with it, was stretching in a weird way. We all wound up falling asleep. I woke up the next day feeling fine, and we parted ways. No big deal, certainly nothing life-changing. Years passed. I never left town, never really did anything. Could never kick smoking cigarettes either. Wasn't a surprise when the doc told me the blood I was coughing up was cancer. Shit. Too late to do anything. I was alone when I took my last breath. I woke up back in Jared's apartment, sun streaming through the window. What the fuck? I hallucinated an entire, sad life. What was that drug? I mumbled something at Jared and Scott and walked outside. What a weird dream. I decided I could do more, maybe that was a wake-up call. Applied to a job I didn't think I was qualified for and got it. Stopped screwing around. Quit smoking, married a nice girl. Had a kid who loved to play ball outside. He didn't even see the truck coming the day he chased his ball into the street, but I did. Probably never moved that fast in my life. Fast enough to push him out of the way. Not fast enough to get myself out of the way. Oh well, what a way to go, protecting someone you love. I woke up in Jared's apartment. Fuck me. What the hell was happening? I had to short-circuit this. I must still be tripping. I decided to throw myself off the bridge down the street. When I got there, I found I physically couldn't do it. Something stopped me. So killing myself was out. I had to go home and figure this out. I wasn't paying attention as I walked up the stairs up to my apartment. If I had, I would have noticed the neighbor's kid had left a toy car on one of them. When I slipped and tumbled, I knew it was going to be bad. I woke up in Jared's apartment. Maybe this could be fun. However long this lasts, I can do anything and it's not real. Like lucid dreaming, but it lasts for decades. I tried a life of crime. Got shot coming out of an electronics store. Not cut out for that, it hurt like hell. Screwed around, partied too much, overdosed, back to Jared's when it all goes to hell. I had lived 10 or 12 lifetimes when I saw her, Ruth. It might seem weird to have forgotten her, but you have to remember we had broken up probably 300 years before. She was older, divorced, sad. She married the wrong guy after our breakup, got abused for years. I was so depressed after our talk I just walked for hours thinking about how sad her life had turned out. I had thought I was helping her. Found myself in a rough neighborhood. When I got jumped, I didn't hand over my wallet. That was a mistake. I woke up in Jared's apartment. This time I could fix it. I bought a bunch of flowers and went to Ruth's. She took me back. We got married, had a family. We traveled the world, best friends. It was incredible. The best life I ever had. I died a happy old man, surrounded by family. I woke up in Jared's apartment. I bought a bunch of flowers and went to Ruth's. If I'm stuck in this Groundhog Day shit, I know what to do. You know what isn't boring? Living the best goddamn life you can. Twice. 3 times. 10 times. The rough edges get smoothed away. You learn when bad news is coming, when you need to sidestep a bad argument. Just absolute happiness. If you get to choose happiness, you choose it every damn time. Then one day we were in Paris, celebrating our 30th anniversary. I'd taken this trip with her 20 times. She walked down to the cafe to get me some breakfast. A car jumped the sidewalk and killed her. That had never happened before. The next lifetime was worse. We made it 12 years after our wedding before she got some weird flu variant and died. The next one she was diagnosed with cancer a year after marriage. We never had kids. The next one her building had burned down the night I spent at Jared's. I stood outside with flowers in my hand, staring at the smoking ruins. A filthy old homeless man walked up next to me, as I stared in disbelief. "Thought you could cheat it, did you?" he said. "Thought he wouldn't notice. But he did." He started laughing as he walked away. But he did. I watched him as he walked away. He turned back from time to time to smile at me. My life's turned dark. Friends were killed in horrible accidents. Serial killers struck peaceful towns and ravaged the families of those I loved. Overdose, disease, murder, death. Everything was wrong. The world turned too. Dictators came to power. Wars broke out. Hatred rose. Cities burned. Countries shattered. The world bled. The old man would appear from time to time, though centuries would sometimes pass between sightings. He always laughed at me, told me that he had me now. Always smiled at me. I drifted, from one dying port town to the next, finding work where I could, drinking away shitty lifetime after shitty lifetime. I was sitting in a bar in the capital of East Scotland, watching some cable news about a genocide in some country that hadn't even existed in most of my lifetimes. The bartender laughed and I looked at him clearly for the first time. It was the old man. He smiled at me. "Who the fuck are you?" I growled. "I've seen him longer than you. He sees you now." He laughed again. "Where do I go to find him?" He laughed. "Go to Samar in the Philippines. Not now, in your next life when you are still young. Find Byringan. He waits for you there." He smiled at me, and I stumbled for the door. I lived another dozen years before a boat I was on went down in a storm. I woke up in Jared's apartment. This time, I immediately started looking for a way to get to the Philippines. I sold my car and walked to work for 6 months, eating the cheapest food I could find. I arrived confused. Turns out Byringan isn't a real place. Or maybe it is. I found work under the table, making money however I could. I asked about the invisible city of local folklore. I asked questions about the lore behind it. I learned how many people who have seen it are victims of demonic possession. I searched for it every chance I got. Years passed by. I lived an invisible life like the invisible city I sought. The world rotted away, but I still searched. One night I was walking home and a car stopped next to me. I heard a familiar laugh through the window. I looked in and saw the old man. He smiled at me. I got in the car. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe.